Hello, and this is Fair Fight, and what you are watching is practically the third episode in Parkour series, but this is the video without anything production, because currently life rails me without the loop. I got a month of my life snapped from existence, and it's very hard to back on working Rails. My improvisation speech is awful, so you'll probably want to watch this video on 1.5. But I will just talk out my thoughts and will show you the project live. So, first review. What we currently can do is 3.5 extra actions, so I have an ability to grab a ledge from midair state. So we like fold, and up a ledge. I have an ability to pull up onto a ledge. From the bottom it supports running, also idle, etc. And the third one is this thin beam walk animation. It has two animations inside, so forward and backward. It's done as one state, so now the move kind of supports moves with several animations in one, that I also want to discuss further down the line. Other notable thing is I changed the transition logic a little bit. So previously this was a function switch to. First notable change is I caved in, and now on enter state it's an input package. I found I need this change because in Parkour specifically many of our moves will have several animations. This means that if my state has some substates in it, that then on enter state I probably want to decide the first substate I'm in, so we need this input package. The second change is here, that previously this input package had several arrays, one for like input actions, combat actions, etc., and they were translated into move names by several modules. For example, my area awareness model translated a portion of an input, my combat model translated a portion of an input, and then it was processed somehow by my move. What happens now is my models got thinner, in a sense that now my area awareness and combat in the future, they don't translate anything, they add context, so they do preparation works also, and then my move in this main transition function, my move sort of applies all the context in one place. I made this change to combat some branches multiplication. For example, in the old system with, how would I say it? If several parts of the system want to translate one input, then I will have eventually a conflict of interpretations. For example, if my left attack is mapped by a combat model to be I don't know, R1 attack, but my Parkour model wants to map this left click into, I don't know, a special attack that is played while I'm on a ladder. These models need to somehow communicate, and this communication is multiplicative, so I need to add a bridge per model when I will add more models. In some sense, graphs hard. So screw this. Now I have somewhat stupid models, and I have very smart move, and move is the single entity that maps everything. How it is done currently? It is a sort of I sort of print dictionaries on top of the previous results. So the layer, when it works, on the example of area awareness, a layer adds some context. For example, if I feel that I have a some thin rope or beam under my legs, I just add a beam into input actions. Or if I feel I don't have a floor under my feet, I append midair into input actions, and the move interprets it with this default input mapping. So this is a dictionary that essentially maps an input action to a move name. And I have a default for this dictionary. It is an export field with a default. This is somewhat comfortable thing to have in Godot, because originally having export field as a dictionary is a novel idea, because it's like it just feels bad. You need to click this, check the type of the key, then this, check the type of the value, etc. And it just doesn't work if you have some complex entities. For example, if I want this value to be my somewhat unique object, I need to click object, and then I need to somehow turn this thing into my self-written type, and it pretty much doesn't work. You better wrap this dictionary into a resource and export the resource if you want to do this stuff. But if you have a default value, to delete values from here is much easier. I just click and remove item, and to edit them is also much more comfortable. So this default mapping is I map nothing to nothing, stop to also idle, move to run, move fast to sprint, go up, jump, run, fall to fall essentially, and a single beam action currently is just beam walk forward and backward. And other moves, they can override these behaviors. For example, midair has a short dictionary. Midair maps beam to beam as default, nothing to nothing as default to not throw in some spaces, and fall further to fall further. And because midair doesn't even have behaviors that correspond to move fast, go up, etc., I don't need to have these values here. As other examples, for example, sprint action, it has a somewhat default array, but it maps, or it doesn't. It maps go up in a different way later. So this map input actions, it first calls unique pair move logic, and then it maps with the default dictionary. And this unique pair move logic is an empty method. I pass locked it, and I can redefine it in the errors of a move script. Now, previously, this modular modification of transition logic was a job of this combo class. And what I essentially did is I ditched the combo out of the system completely. I carved it out. No combos. And now I have to either manually map actions in the form of a method with branching, etc. It, like on the example of meter state, it can be pretty long. Or I need to think of somehow smart mapping with the dictionary. I call it a probation period because on example of running and sprinting. So as you can see, both run and sprint, they want to process go up action as a ledge climb and as a jump. As a ledge climb and as a jump. So these things, they are very like itemized. So I predict that I will want to reinstate this combo class as a piece of transition logic, because without it I am forced to use this overriding this. I am forced to redefine the unique behaviors for every air of move, and I don't really want to do this. It is a lot of code duplication is produced, and I want a form of itemization for this logic. I want an ability to use composition whenever possible. But I didn't want to just refactor combo class because it sort of lost its necessity. It's like I want to first carve it out. I want to have some experience with this manual inputs processing, and then I want to run into troubles again to reinvent combos, but not to refactor them based on feeling, because creating abstractions based on intuition is not the best thing you can do, because you can invent too much abstractions. You usually want to invent abstractions when the new abstraction solves a concrete problem for you. So I want to first run into problems, and then I want to solve them with the new combo, like Gandalf the White combo returns. So for now, we have here a bunch of duplicated code, and that's alright. It's probably the fourth or something episode, because later in this point. Okay. Dictionaries, combos, optimization. Specifics. So in the last episode, in the second video about this technology of using vectors, vector normals to some side of an item, of a model as a key, I used to have an abstraction called reslice. Reslice. I since then I improved it. So earlier it could describe only the so-called horizontal rectangle with horizontal direction, horizontal depth, etc. And now it can describe any rectangle in 3D space. I also, because I do it, I get an ability to describe vertical rectangles, and I also search for thin row poking places with this rectangle, I can detect the vertical edge of this form. It is a manual detection because this model, I will later open it in Blender, so it has a beam, literal sharp edge on the roof of this, I don't know, thingy. As a side effect, because its collision model is two cuboids, I can use the lower cuboid to power my pulling up animation. It looks awful because reasons later. So now my ray slice can also search for can scan other rectangles, whatever. This allows me to so the flow is as follows. For example, pulling up, so we are idle when we get go up command, and we search for climbable ledges. And search for climbable edges is a function from area awareness model, but this ledge earlier it had sort of hard-coded slice to search for some edge, and that is bad. And now it accepts an argument of type ray slice, and this ledge sensor is a resource of this ray slice that is exported and put onto the move. And this resource exporting actually is a very good thing in Godot. It's good for flows, because with these buttons, not only I can get here a new ray slice, I can I can save this concrete ray slice with these constants. I can save it as a file, and I can then reuse it. So this I don't count as duplication of settings, because idle, run, and sprint, they have duplicated overhead sensor, but this duplicated overhead sensor is just a piece of overhead sensor resource, whatever. So they feed this resource to search edges algorithm. We get some results, probably. So, and if we found an edge, we map our go up action into ledge climb action, and if we didn't, we map it to jump in action. Jump. Found an edge, climbing. Similar to midair. For example, in the midair state, we have a different sensor, like it's called ledge sensor, but it is a unique ray slice in terms I didn't save it, because it is unique to midair and it is sort of local to midair, so it's nameless in a sense. So in midair, without mapping, we can map go up into wall jumping if we can, but we also can map nothingness. If you look here, I don't map any input, I just check if I need to grab a ledge while I am falling, and if I do, I erase the fall action and I add ledge grabbing action to not being deadlocked in the midair state. And I do this with beam walking also. Yeah, like this. Ledge grabbing action also got some functional. in the previous episode, if you actually downloaded the code, this move of grabbing a ledge was a dead end. It didn't have any inputs attached, because it was basically face rolled. So now we can do anything in ledge grab aside from pressing a spacebar, and spacebar is mapped to wall jumping also, like from the mirror. But the mirror has its wall jumping bounce from the normal to the wall, and ledge grabbing overrides the bouncing normal to always bounce from the wall like with a 90 degrees angle, whatever. Next. Yeah, animation tailoring. So if you look at animations, these states, let's climb up, they have like surprisingly long scripts, and too long for a state that pretty much plays an animation, and they're here because we need to somehow work with animations that are awful, especially in the indie environment. I don't prepare my animations for my needs, I just steal some animations from internet, basically. I butcher them somehow, but that's all I got. And it leads, for example, to this animation of climbing, and this animation of climbing, it has a very bad root behavior. So for example, first it starts, wait, let me depose my torso. The row animation, it starts from hanging on the ledge somewhere here, so we don't even touch the floor with our feet, and then we obviously move the root. And this is bad because when we move the root, this capsule here is the capsule that senses the hits from the weapons, from the shots, etc. But our actual character's capsule will be here for the duration of the animation. And then we will need to do some awkward teleportation tricks. So instead, we obviously want to bake the root motion into here. Where it is? So we want to produce an animation that looks like this. We have the pose, but we don't have any extra movement. But we also don't want to strictly pin this root, because if we pin this root, we will run into the problem of us finishing in this pose where we sort of stand on thin air. So in this picture, this blue line of z-axis is the floor we just climbed on, and obviously it looks awful. So in a studio environment, this smart-ass root motion bone will be prepared for you by a professional who like makes animations for dynamic floor. You will have essentially an animation where your root motion is not pinned completely and is not unpinned completely, but is like pinned to a moving point, so it super nicely has only the needed motion of snapping your feet directly to the floor here, and like sexy climbing. I don't have such luxury for this project, so currently I do some shaman tricks to modify this animation on the fly, basically. So first you see, if you look onto my feet, first I sort of go under the earth to match my hands with the climbing target, because I can climb. I can climb dynamic heights of objects, and to match the hands, I need to go under the floor. Secondly, to finish look, I am finishing with my feet touching the surface, so in this pose. But the next pose is idle, and in idle pose, this is approximately the level of my knees. And to like don't finish in the situation where this surface is my knees level, I also snap my character like 1 foot higher to sort of synchronize the floor level. It looks awful, it snaps the camera a bit, but I'm chilled about it because, well, basically it's just an asset problem, not mine. So if we will have a nice asset, this will be perfectly fine. And the next episode, the fourth one, will be about like the more complex sledge actions, and I think I will take some time to fix this because we can do more tailoring. Currently I do only 3 things here. First thing, I rotate the player because when we face an edge, I can climb it like from ideal 90 degrees angle, and it looks somewhat plausible, but I also can climb it from like this position, and I need to slowly adjust the player's position to like finish the climb looking perpendicularly onto the surface. The next thing is I move the player, obviously, with root motion, and I do this like snapping thing to synchronize the floor position in the end. Like, up, snap. We can add here more tailoring. For example, we can sort of project our capsule or collide array for us to dynamically climb with respect of like the literal object being here. Or we can just prohibit the climbing here. I don't know. Anyways, more ledge actions in the next episode. Whatever. The future will cure these sins. Yeah, bean walking. So, bean walking actually is a sort of tectonic change in the model because it is a move that is a single action in the system in terms of moves, like here, beam. But internally, it has 2 substates. If I press the forward input, it walks me forward. If I press the backward input, it backs me. And these substates have some common behaviors. For example, they like tilt left and right, and they have common ground of global transition logic. For example, if I let's demonstrate it on more vertical one. So the common behavior is we can like walk forward and backward, and we can tilt and eventually we will fall. But these are 2 animations, and you know me, I want to set up everything properly, and this was a big head scratcher. How would I put it? I see several ways to create such a move that will have several substates, but it is also a hot topic to discuss because I don't think player controllers are suitable. I don't think the hierarchical state machines are suitable to describe player controllers. So this we still need to sort of make it a single layer state machine with some states exclusively being multi-state entities, but without like en masse shaping this whole structure to be layered. Whatever, it will become easier when on concrete examples. In this project, this beam walk is done like that. Long story short, we just choose an animation once in a while. If we press forward, it's the forward one. If we press backward, it's the backward one. And the substate is tied to an animation and vice versa. On the other project, on the other project with this move structure, I also have a move that is like running, but it has those sexy animations of starting the run and ending the run, and they so I have one running move with 3 substates inside with completely common logic about the external transitions, but they have some juggling inside to like to make this sexy starting and ending essentially. I don't think I can explain it perfectly without like montage, schemes, etc. So yeah, on enter state, choose animation. Choose animation, check axis. In the input vector, we synchronize our direction with the direction of the thin surface. For example, if I started to look on this beam from this angle, I will slowly adjust myself to walk parallel to it. Another one. Like we synchronize the nose direction to the beam. In update, we progressively choose animation because we check the input direction every frame. If we changed something, we update animation to be played differently. We then rotate our character like left to right, depending on which side it falls, and we move it forward or backward, whatever. In walking. About nested states, also like a single good news in this clusterfuck of a month. For the new year, my waifu presented me with a whiteboard, so now I can transition from creating the memes of me explaining something on a whiteboard. I can literally like explain something on a whiteboard. Future. So I don't think the 4th episode will be with us in a week. It's like a dreamer scenario, and it's like to make an episode once a week I need to work 60 hours a week, and it's much easier to work 60 hours a week if you are already working 60 hours a week. But if it's much harder to get back on this tempo of production if you like practically did nothing for a month. So I predict the next episode to be like 2 weeks from here. The next episode will be with production, I hope, and it will be about better ledge actions. So currently I can only like grab a ledge when I am falling onto it. in the future I want to be able to traverse this left and right. I also want to pull some uncharted, and like look at this angle. What I essentially want is I want to be able to move right and to traverse this angle and to continue moving on around the different ledge. And being ambitious bitch, I also want to do it procedurally. I have some ideas how we will do it, but I don't know, maybe. I also want some ledge attacking. Maybe, well, we don't have much shooting. It will probably be in a form of this animation from Dark Souls when you climb a ladder and you have two attacks, like attack up and attack down with your leg. So it will essentially I don't want the attacking on the ledge so hard. I want a mechanism to remap my combat actions depending on the state family of the parkour I'm in. Ideally, I have seen some videos from Unreal Engine, like several a wall with several possible ledges to climb, and even here, so these guys, they can jump from one ledge onto another. If Unreal Engine can, I probably also want to do it. So yeah, this will be with us in 2 weeks. What else? Well, no, better climbing, I guess. Better climbing to liquidate this bullshit. Yeah. That's it. Sorry for the awful video, I guess. And sorry for my patrons who, I don't know, supported me for a month without anything. Yeah. Bye bye.